on the Fan Upstate.
Oh, my God. Tolos and Cole Bryson sitting across from me, digitally speaking, on the computer screen. It's here. Football is here in the state of South Carolina. Cole, you're live at a brand new facility. We're going to get into that throughout the show. Burns' brand new football stadium now open. I know you're excited to break it in with the inaugural broadcast. A lot to get to on the show today. We'll go college football playoff predictions. Gary Stokan of the Aflac kickoff game of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl going to join us in the very next segment. And, of course, we're going to get some shots of this awesome new facility that you're sitting in right now.
I'll tell you what, man, you said it. It's really interesting. I didn't think about it until you said it, Diesel, but the first ever broadcast from the new Nixon Field press box. We are kicking it off right here on the Fan Upstate. I'm currently in the home radio booth at Burns High School, the new Nixon Field, new press box, and it is currently pouring rain in Duncan, South Carolina. But hopefully, Diesel, it is going to dump right now, and then we'll be good by kickoff. It's still summertime, right? So you still have these pop-up showers. But to your point, man, this facility is first class. I mean, the field, obviously, we've seen pictures, but the press box, the press box is all I care about, right? All that matters is radio, right? We're the only thing that matters here, right? I'm kidding. But the press box, Diesel, it's immaculate. I'm looking down right now. You have us, home coaches, home film. You have your PA, your video jumbotron stuff. And then you just flip-flop it, visiting film, visiting coaches, visiting radio. There's a security booth. This thing is absolutely spectacular, and there's a full kitchen in the back area. So I'll tell you this, Diesel, I told a friend of mine this morning, here's the best way I can describe it. I called North Greenville football on the radio for 3 years when I was a student, right, and a year after. And I went all over the Southeast to Division II colleges in 3 years. And you didn't see a Division II college press box and facility like you're seeing here. So it's spectacular.
It's amazing, Cole, the arms race that, we saw. And, at times we still see play out in big-time Division I college football is now trickling its way down into the high school ranks. I know that almost every field, or maybe every field in the upstate now, has gone to the artificial turf. They're all putting the best of the best stuff in. And now as these stadiums get old and outdated, they're getting demolished and built brand new. What did Burns spend on this facility? $30 million. That's amazing. And not to make anybody over at Burns feel bad about it. I just want to know what a $60 million facility buys you. We were talking about that with the Bishop High School Stadium that just opened up down at Bishop in Georgia. Buford.
It was on TV the other night, right? Last week. It was spectacular. So you're right. 35 more million, you can have that. But I'll tell you what, I don't say this just because I'm calling the Burns games or anything like this. This is my 13th season broadcasting high school football, and I'll tell you, this is the nicest facility I've ever seen. I mean, they did it right. $30 million. The press box, like I said, is phenomenal. The turf looks good. From what I've heard, Diesel, from the people I've talked to, I will tell you this tonight when the gates open at 6:30. There will be people disappointed tonight because they're not going to be able to fit in here. And I have been told that they're expecting over 8,000 people tonight, which is spectacular for the season opener in this brand new stadium. People are coming. I've been told from fan bases that are their teams on the road tonight with week 0 kicking off that they're coming to this game instead because it's the first one. So they're expecting a lot. And I'll tell you this, if you're coming tonight to Burns, TL Hanna, you better get here early because there are going to be people, in my opinion, turned away.
Well, Tolos, give us a shout out. Let us know if you are headed down to Nixon Field tonight for the home opener for the Burns Rebels, brand new Nixon Field Stadium. Excited to get all of our Tolos reactions who are going to be going to this game. Cole, but we're also on the eve of college football getting started. We got high school football now. We got college football starting tomorrow. And what better place to start, not at week 1 of the season or week 0 of the season. Let's go all the way to the end and sort of predict what we think is going to happen at the very end of the college football season. I figured, Cole, instead of coming up with our own brackets and seeing what we thought might happen by the end of the season, let's just go right to the expert, the guy that knows a thing or two about a thing or two, and Josh Pate. He put out his bracket about a week ago. I think we mentioned it. We talked about it on the show. We chuckled at the fact that Nebraska is sitting there, I think, as an 11 seed in his bracket. But let's play that college football playoff out and see what we think might happen. You ready to go?
Let me ask you this. You're telling me that we're going to play it as it is, as it lies, right?
Well, I'll give you this, Cole. I'll give you one substitution. If you don't like one team that made it on Josh Pate's bracket, I'm going to let you change out one.
Oh, that's interesting.
And otherwise, we're not reseeding anything because that would take us all show just to figure out seeding.
And tell me if I need to change. For the fun of it, I'll do it as is. I'll
as
play
is.
It as lies. Yep.
Okay.
I'll play it as lies because it's a really interesting bracket. For those who hadn't seen it, it's interesting. I'll tell you that.
We'll get into that here. Cole, take a hold for just a second, and I'm going to grab this phone call.
I'll tell you, the Josh Pate's bracket. What I'm going to do for those of you watching on the stream, there's already 40 people watching the show today on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm going to clip it and put it on the stream for you to see. So Josh Pate, in his 12-team bracket, has Florida, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon, Clemson, Boise State, Ohio State, Arizona State, Alabama, Texas, Notre Dame, and Nebraska. No real problem, except for Florida's interesting. Notre Dame, no problem there. I also have Arizona State winning their conference, but Nebraska. Those are the two that I think catches everybody's eye. So we're going to play it as it lies.
Okay.
And Diesel, the Florida being in there, and Nebraska being in there. I don't know. Let me say this first of all. I don't agree with that. I don't think that happens. But for the fun of it, I think it could make this conversation really interesting if it were to happen.
And Florida being an 8 seed, by the way, that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll stay with you. I'll play it as it lies. I'll play with Florida being the 8 seed, Nebraska being the 11 seed. By the way, a little live programming note for you. That was Gary Stoken just called in and said he's driving. He's going to be just a few minutes later. So he's going to join us at 3:30 instead of.
What does he think he is? Who does he think he is? I mean, a CEO of a Peach Bowl Incorporated. What is this?
Sure, Gary, you can have whatever you want. All right, so let's play it as it lies. And here's what's great about this, Cole, is we're going to get on-campus games, and we're going to get an on-campus version of the world's largest cocktail party, which we never get. They play this game in Jacksonville every year, and now, by God, they're going to play it on the campus of the Florida Gators there in Gainesville. How much fun is that?
That would be, first of all, that would be nuts if that were to happen. Again, this is not, if you just tuned in, this is not Diesel's bracket. This is not my bracket. This is Josh Pate's bracket. And he has Florida. Did you say an 8 seed? Is that right?
An 8 seed playing the 9 seed Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay. So Georgia, Florida.
And we have to make some assumptions here at this point that Florida has had a pretty good year. They've had a 9 or a 10 win year. DJ Lagway has shown what we thought he was going to be, a quality quarterback. He's stayed healthy all season long. Georgia maybe having a little bit of growing pains with their new quarterback as well, because they're featured there as the 9 seed.
So if you're watching on the stream, as 44 of you Tolos are doing, I put it up there, Josh Pate's playoff prediction. Head-to-head, Diesel, if Florida makes the playoffs, to your point, again, it's important to remember, if they do make the college football playoff, they've had a really good year, even as an 8 seed. Georgia's a 9 seed. Again, here's what's fun about this conversation. If these two teams played today, you and I would probably pick Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
However, if what Josh Pate is predicting to happen actually happens, that means Florida is an 8, Georgia is a 9. Florida might have had a little bit better of a season than Georgia. It's almost like an old SEC East matchup, right? I love it.
Isn't it great?
It would be great at Florida Diesel. If you told me Florida was there with DJ Lagway, I would probably say that he's the better quarterback, and I'd probably go Florida.
Yeah, right? I agree. If that's the case, both of these teams are 9 or 10 win teams, probably 10 win teams.
Yeah.
So they both had amazing seasons. DJ Lagway is everything that we thought he could be after we saw him in the last couple of games of last season. Obviously, that injury that he's been battling all offseason hasn't really hampered him. You add all of that, plus the atmosphere at the Swamp. I don't think there's any way that Florida loses that game at home in the Swamp. I don't know when the last time was that Georgia traveled to play in Gainesville, but by God, I'm Gators to advance off of a home victory against Georgia.
And to your point, like you said earlier, this would have been, if this were to happen, if Florida Georgia do match up as the 8-9 and the CFP, this would be the second matchup, the second game, right, of the season, because they played in Jacksonville. I think that's an early November game this season. I think that would be an all-time epic first-round game, Diesel.
Right.
I don't think it'll happen, but I'm here for it.
I think that's by far the most entertaining of all the first-round matchups, because we're going to get into these Clemson versus Boise State, Ohio State versus Arizona State, Notre Dame versus Nebraska. Florida, Georgia, that thing, the ratings numbers on that would be absolutely gigantic.
They would be, especially with your point, like you said, with it being a home game. It'd be fun. So I'll go Florida Gators there, too, to Josh Pate's bracket.
All right, let's move down to the bottom left corner of the bracket. This one is a 5-12 matchup. Boise State traveling to play at Clemson. Clemson has played at Boise State before in a bowl game on that blue field, but I don't know if Boise State's ever been this far east.
Boise State at Clemson for the first round playoff matchup. That just feels weird, doesn't it?
Right.
Doesn't that feel different? Yeah, I would. All signs again. Let me look back at that graphic. He has Clemson as a what seed? 5
seed.
And Boise is the G5 at 12, which I do agree with. You and I talked about that. It could be Boise as the G5 at 12, or possibly Navy, right? Yeah, I'd go Clemson here. I don't see Diesel. If it were a home playoff game, that place would be bonkers. Like the boys, I don't want to say it'd be a blowout, but Diesel, I don't know that game would be particularly close. Home playoff game.
No, if Clemson's a 5 seed, that means they're probably 11-1 over the season. Conference champs, whether they beat LSU or whether they beat or lost to LSU or lost to South Carolina, I think that's probably where that loss comes from. Yep. Or maybe they beat both of them and they lost to Louisville on a Friday night.
Sure.
That Clemson team, though, I think that Clemson team would absolutely boat race a Boise State team if they're playing here in South Carolina. Let's move up to the upper right-hand corner of the graphic. We got Ohio State, the number 7 seed. That means Ohio State stumbled a time or two over the course of the season, facing number 10, Arizona State.
As a 7. Ohio State is a 7.
7-10.
Arizona State, the winner of their conference in this scenario, being the 10, because, again, there's not an automatic 4 this year like it was last year with 1, 2, 3, 4 being conference champs.
And no respect for the Big 12.
Boy. So, first of all, you're telling me you win your conference and you're the what seed?
10.
10 seed?
See, doesn't that also feel wrong? We undid the system that we had, and now all of a sudden we're putting conference champs as the 10 seed.
10 feels a little off.
Disrespectful.
I'm not going to lie to you. 10 does feel a little off. If they were to win the conference and become the 10, I would say Ohio State probably wins that game, but 2 conference champions there, right? Ohio State and Arizona State, both conference champions, Diesel.
Yeah.
I'd say Ohio State wins the game, but tell me how Arizona State does throughout the course of the season. What's their point differential, right? Like, if you told me they blew teams out throughout the course of the regular season, it might be close, but I think I'd comfortably take Ohio State in that one.
Yeah, I think Sam Leavitt. I don't know if I'd go comfortably. I think Sam Leavitt and this team could have something for him. I don't. Maybe it's a 10-point game. Maybe it's a 14-point game that gets stretched out in the fourth quarter a little bit to become a 14-point game. But I'm with you as well. Ohio State, the third home playing team, the host site to advance. And then Cole, here's where it gets interesting. Number 6 Notre Dame hosting number 11 Nebraska. Again, that sounds weird.
It sounds so weird. According to Josh, if Josh Pate's prediction were true,
and again, he didn't pull these out of his rear end. There's a reason why he really likes Nebraska.
I'm with you. Do you have a coin back there? No, I'd say Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's going to have a special year. I don't know that Notre Dame's a national championship team, Diesel, but I'd say if that were to be the matchup, I'd take Notre Dame over Nebraska, wouldn't you?
Here's where I'm going to differ from you, Cole. I'm going to say the one upset that happens on a campus site is that Nebraska who is clearly a team of destiny this year because they haven't been able to sniff a playoff in years. A team of destiny, they've really taken a stride. I think this Nebraska team might upset Notre Dame on the road. So I'm going to differ from you there.
Okay, that would be we as college football fans wouldn't know what to do. I mean, what are we in 19? I mean, that just doesn't sound right?
And
I'm not saying it can't happen, but wow.
We'll do this snake fashion, Cole, and we'll pick up the pace so we can get through it before the thing's over. Nebraska, by virtue of beating Notre Dame, they get the pleasure of playing Texas, the number 3 team in the seed, in the playoff seed.
Ooh, so say that one more time. Nebraska would play Texas, right?
Nebraska would play Texas.
And Josh Pate's playoff prediction.
And this would be a neutral site game.
Yeah, if Nebraska wouldn't win that game.
No.
Texas would win, right? They're the
Texas
they have a bye. They're a top 4 team. 2 weeks to prepare, I'd go Texas there.
I love it. Okay, Ohio State has beaten Arizona State. Now they play number 2 Alabama.
Ooh.
Right?
Man. Boy.
That also mean that Ty Simpson is that guy.
It would mean that. Yeah. And I think Ty Simpson has a chance to be that guy, to be honest with you. Boy, Ohio State, Bama. Who would you go with, Diesel? Who would you pick?
Oh man, neutral site. I think it kind of depends on where they're playing it, but as well as I do, Ohio State travels incredibly well. Oh man, by virtue of Ohio State being the 7th seed, that means Julian's saying good but not amazing, and that means that Ty Simpson is amazing by virtue of being a number 2 seed. I'm gonna give it to Alabama.
See, I think, boy, that'd be an incredible. I'd love for that to happen. I think Ohio State would win that game.
Ooh.
I think Jeremiah Smith would be. By the way, you'd have the 2 best receivers in the country playing each other. Think about that.
Yeah.
By the way, Diesel, is that music too loud? That's coming.
No, it's perfect.
Okay,
it's
just want to make sure. Now it's off. Like I have control over it, anyways. But I will say I would go Alabama. No, I'd go Ohio State in that scenario.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
So I got Texas and Alabama advancing. All right, now Clemson has beaten Boise State. They get to play the number 4 seed in Oregon, a 5-4 matchup.
Oregon, I feel like as the 4 would probably win that game if that were to be the case. Not saying it couldn't be entertaining, Diesel, but I'd go Oregon there. What about you?
I'd go Clemson. I'd go Clemson. These teams should be, by virtue of being a 4 and a 5 seed, they should be virtually equal. It's a coin flip game.
Clemson could win it. Oregon, if that were to happen, I could see it going either way.
And I think Cade has kind of eliminated a lot of those mistakes and is the better quarterback than what they have up there at Oregon. And then finally, Cole, Florida playing number 1 Penn State.
Wow.
Number 8 Florida.
Yeah.
Number 1 Penn State.
If that were to happen, Diesel, I'd probably go. Oh man, that means Florida would have had a great season, beaten Georgia in the first round.
Means they wouldn't have played in the conference championship, but they would beat Georgia.
They'd be battle tested, right?
Yeah, they'd be battle tested.
Penn State would have that bye.
Yep.
I'd probably in that case, in that scenario, I'd probably go Florida if that were to be the case.
Okay. God, that's a coin flip for me as well.
Penn State being the rested team, having that bye week, having that week off, I think that'd be big. But
that might hurt them too.
But Drew Aller, think about that though, Diesel. Drew Aller versus DJ Lagway potentially. That would be. That'd be really interesting. Again, I just think there's the ceiling for DJ Lagway's there, man. I think he has a big upside.
I'm going to ride with you on this one and say that Florida gets the big-time upset, the 8-1 upset. And, man, how hot is the seat for James Franklin if that happens? Getting beat by the 8 seed, by the lowest seed to advance to that point, that's brutal.
Wouldn't be good, Diesel.
No, it would not. We can pick this up a little bit later on in the show, Cole, because we're down now to the final 4.
Yeah,
we can finish this thing off later.
Is Gary is he gonna be able to join us?
Yeah, he's gonna call us in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. You want to come back on the other side and finish it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it on the other side. We'll finish this, and then we'll have Gary Stokin who's we're not happy with, by the way. Gary Stokan, our good friend, he's retiring. I don't know why he thinks that's allowed. He's the Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO. And about 10 minutes from now, I'm live at Burns High School in the brand new Nixon Field. We'll continue that conversation and hear from you, Tolos, next.
Text or call. One number does it all. 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Rolling along in hour number one of the show. So good to be with you. He back in the Eagles Market studio is Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson, and I am live at the brand new Nixon Field here in Duncan, South Carolina, the home of the Burns Rebels, where, let's see, at about 7 o'clock tonight, you'll hear Burns and T.L. Hanna right here on the Fan Upstate opening the high school football season. We'll do our high school picks. I did my high school picks rather this morning, and we'll roll through those at 5:20. On the show today, joined by Gary Stokan in a few minutes. On the show as well, Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO. We have Smitty, our Friday usual Diesel at 4 o'clock. We love Smitty. He joins us every Friday at 4 o'clock during football season. We'll talk to him. Then on the show, talk Clemson, talk South Carolina, talk whatever Smitty has going on. You know, he doesn't like to talk, Diesel, so we're going to have to pull his teeth to get him to say something. But we are looking at Josh Pate's prediction for the CFP, and we're down to the Final Four. Is that right?
We are down to the Final Four. Cole, you and I have basically differed on everything here in this second round. I've got Texas, Alabama, Clemson, and Florida making it in, and I think that's Gary right there. Let me grab this call.
Okay, go ahead. And you know what? I think I would go back with you. I think I'd go to Clemson as well. Yeah, I'm going to actually change that. If that were to be the case, I think I would go Clemson over Oregon in that semifinal game. So I'm going to change my pick. I'd have Clemson beating Oregon in the college football playoff. So I'd agree with you on one. That's tough though, man. It would be really tough. All right, we've got Gary Stokan on the line. He is a good friend of the show. Whether he will tell you that or not, we love him. I don't know if he loves us, but he is the Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO. We've talked to him 3 or 4 times. We talked to him at ACC kickoff. And Gary, we love you, but I'm not happy with you after the news that I got a couple of days ago about what you are going to be planning to do here in the near future. We're happy for you, but that R word, the retirement, are you sure about that, buddy? Gary, you with us?
Sorry, it seems like the line has jammed up. Let me try again.
No problem. Gary Stokan, again, he's Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO, good friend of the show. Diesel back in the studio is working on that. I don't know if, again, I might have badmouthed Gary enough where he just said, screw these guys, I'm not going to talk to them. But we're going to try to effort Gary Stokan back on the phone lines at 844-326-3663. We've had him on the show many, many times. And let's try that again. Gary, can you hear us now, my friend? Cannot. We'll keep trying. We'll keep trying. Gary, if you can't hear me, we'll try to get back to you right here on the Fan Upstate. I know we might have some technical difficulties with the phone line, but we will try our absolute best. Diesel's back in the Eagles Market Studios. So while Diesel's working on that, I don't know. You know how different shows we have different shows, different local shows throughout the course of the day. So what we'll do is we'll blame Lonzo and Rob for the technical difficulties. We'll blame them, and we'll say that they were the issue. They were the reason for our issue. You know, it's as simple as sometimes just hitting one button. If Lonzo or Rob hit one button, it could throw everything off. So, Tolos, don't tell Rob and Lonzo that we're going to blame them for this technical issue, but we are going to blame those two for this. So we'll effort Gary Stokan, again, Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO, on the line. Welcome into Wire to Wire. If you just tuned in, I believe the third time is the charm. Gary, do you have us now?
Cole, do you hear me?
I've got you loud and clear, man. I figured you heard me bad-mouthing you, Gary, because that R word, I saw that in an email a couple of days ago, and we love having you on the show. And now all of a sudden, Gary, I'm really disappointed that you are retiring. Is that right?
Well, I spoke at our kickoff to playoff luncheon on Monday, and I said, well, I looked up the definition of a retirement, and it said ceasing to work. And I said, I can't retire because I've never worked a day in my life.
I like
I've
that.
had 47 years of being in sports, and been the love of my life and a passion, and I don't know when my checks come, and I've had a great life. So I'm never going to retire.
Yeah.
So Gary, tell us kind of what the plan is, what the timeline is going to be, and if you say you're not going to quit working, what are you planning on doing, and in this so-called quote unquote retirement?
Well, I've got 4 grandsons, 9, 8, 7, and 5, and so I'll either continue to coach and coach them up, or I'll be their number one fan. Either way, so I got a great job opportunity.
Absolutely, as we're joined by Gary Stokan right here on the Fan Upstate. Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO, good friend of the show. Hopefully, after retirement, he will join us continually on the Fan Upstate. And then, Gary, see, now that you're retiring, you can join us and say anything you want. There are no limitations. You'll be able to badmouth anybody, but hopefully you'll still join us. Talk about what you guys are doing right now. College football kicks off this weekend officially with 5 games. Next weekend, one of our teams, South Carolina, involved in the Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta. I'm sure it's a busy time of year right now for you and your team. Talk about what that looks like.
Yeah, we just had a call yesterday with Aflac, firming everything up from the sponsor side and VIPs and guests and et cetera. We had a meeting earlier this week with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, because as you know, that we framed this game as the kickoff for a cause, with September being Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And we announced on Monday that we are going to donate $100,000, which Aflac will match, for $200,000 to our Peach Bowl Legacy Fund, which has now funded 14 trials in 5 different states and 4 different hospitals. And then we also announced that we'll be giving our 50-50 raffle money to those trials. And then our board on Monday agreed to donate $2.5 million to fund the existing trials.
Wow.
That we have. So we're all in for about $69 million that we've given away since 2002, and to a myriad of charities, and makes us the most charitable bowl organization in the country. So we're blessed to be able to do that. It's part of our mission to be the most charitable bowl, as we were the first bowl game founded for charity back in 1968.
Gary, to be able to give that kind of money is such an amazing accomplishment. Can you go into any details about what the outcomes of that money and the research that has been able to be performed from that money? What is it produced that you can tell us about?
Yeah, we have, as I mentioned, the 14 trials that are existing, and we just added 4 more trials. So everything from osteosarcoma to neuroblastoma to leukemia. We're funding different trials, and there's already been some success with kids that have had the opportunity to live another 6 months because of the existing trials that we have. Before these trials, that kid would have passed away, and so now these trials are at least letting them live a little bit longer. And we hope to get something at some point approved by FDA where we can eradicate some form of childhood cancer. So, but we've given money, we have $10 million in endowed scholarships. Like this year, we'll donate $50,000 to South Carolina, to Virginia Tech, to Syracuse, and to Tennessee in endowed scholarships in our John Lewis Legacy of Courage scholarships, which is set aside at those schools for Title I kids in Atlanta or Georgia. And Title I kids are underprivileged kids that don't have the money to go to school. Yeah. And in some cases, we have 37 universities now. In some cases, these kids are the first kids in their family to ever go to college. Wow. So, and then we've given $13 million to build and sustain the College Football Hall of Fame. We just gave money last year to North Carolina and to Georgia and South Carolina with the hurricanes that hit. So, we've just used college football for the greater good, and we're humbly proud to have the opportunity to help others.
Gary is tremendous. I'll tell you what, sometimes I just get goosebumps hearing you talk about it and what you guys do. it really is awesome to see what what that organization, what your organization has done. Speaking of organizations, when you are retired and you come on with us and you're able to be a little bit more loose-lipped, this is the kind of question I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to prepare you by throwing a curveball at you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You might not be able to comment, but it's funny, so I'm going to ask anyways. Gary Stokan, you're brilliant. You're smart. Your team's brilliant. You're a businessman, and you talked about the millions and millions of dollars that you guys have given to charities across the country and world. What could Gary Stokan do to fix this horrendous, hideous new Cracker Barrel logo? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you think, are you out of the loop on this, or have you seen this?
Oh, no, I've seen it. I thought you were going to ask me, what can I do to fix college athletics?
No, this is more important. This is way more. Gary, they removed the cracker and the barrel. It's pitiful.
I'm gonna guess and hazard a guess here that within a year, Cracker and Barrel are back in the logo. I saw where their stock's down 10% already.
Woo.
And I can't imagine that business is going to be all that good over the next year either.
Talking to Gary Stokan, the CEO of Peach Bowl Incorporated. Gary, everyone would say that, this game, whether it's the Peach Bowl or whether it's the relatively new Aflac kickoff game before that, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, is a bigger and better spectacle than it was when it began. What do you envision, and what kind of conversations have you had with whoever it may be that takes your role after you're gone about continuing to grow that spectacle? Where can it go from where it already is, which is in a pretty good spot?
Well, I appreciate the kind comments. We created back in 2008 what I framed as the Daytona 500 of college football until I received a cease and desist letter from Daytona 500. But we wanted to start the year with a bowl game. We didn't get into the BCS when they brought the championship game on in 2006. They went to a double host model with the 4 existing BCS bowls, playing their bowl game and then rotating the national championship. And the next year, when the NCAA presidents legislated a 12th game, I said to my board, being the competitor I am, that if they're not going to let us in the BCS on the backside, we're going to start the BCS on the front side. And we started with Clemson, Alabama, sold it out, had huge TV viewership, and we basically changed the face of college football, because now you look at this weekend coming up, we got Clemson, LSU, we got Ohio State, Texas, we got Notre Dame, Miami, we have South Carolina, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Syracuse. None of those games would have happened, 18 years ago. People would schedule non-directional schools, get 2 or 3 wins under the belt before they went in the conference schedule. So these games have become huge data points for the CFP selection committee. And I do have concern. I did meet with David Epps, my exec VP of marketing and COO, who is going to take my job June 1st of next year. And I'm a little worried with the SEC going to 9 games and having to play one more major Power 4 team. You live in the area. Clemson, South Carolina is not going away. So South Carolina is going to play 9 games plus that game. I doubt they're going to want to play another tough game. And so I think the inventory, and if the ACC goes in that direction as well, now all of a sudden, the inventory is going to shrink, because Georgia will play Georgia Tech, Clemson will play South Carolina, Kentucky will play Louisville, Florida will play Florida State, and there's some games like Alabama, Alabama, Notre Dame, and some other big games already on schedule. So I'm a little worried that the kickoff game format, could struggle a little bit here in the future.
Gary Stokan, Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO. Gary, my last question for you. You look at the landscape of college football. We've heard people, and we've asked you this question before as well, we've heard people comment. Do you believe once you leave your role, you will be able to see college football maybe from a different viewpoint as an outsider for the first time in a long, long time, because Nick Saban's kind of, even though he's still doing like ESPN College Game Day, he's still now, or he's now kind of seeing it from the outside point of view. Do you feel like once you step away from it, you'll have a different viewpoint of the game in any aspect of it, or no?
Well, my biggest concern right now is college athletics should be about giving a student the opportunity to get a free education, number one, and then getting them a degree, number two. And my belief is these collectives of alumni, they should be there to give these kids, 98% of which are not going to play pro, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever you want to say. They should give them jobs to get kids to be productive citizens in our society, because you've got basketball, football, swimmers, tennis, baseball players, women's basketball. They're not going to play pro sports. And I think we've lost our way in college athletics, that the answer to everything right now is money. And then you ask the question. Yeah. And I think that's backwards. We're losing our mission. I read where 30% of the kids now that are transferring more than once are not getting their degrees. And that's not what college athletics was built to be. I would have a commissioner of college basketball, a commissioner of college football, commissioner of women's basketball, and a commissioner of baseball. I would take all the Olympic sports and have them join their respective national governing bodies, like swimming, diving, rifle, track and field, and let them compete under the Olympic NGBs. Somehow I'd find a way to fund those, whether it's through federal, state, government, whatever. And I would have a board of each of those four sports with commissioners of 2 presidents, 2 ADs, 2 commissioners, 2 coaches, and 2 players. And have that board and that staff for that respective sport figure out 24/7 how they're going to make that sport relevant and successful in this modern day and time.
Gary, I got one more question for you. Cole and I are both going to be there in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium next Sunday for South Carolina.
Look forward to hosting you.
Well, I just want to know, since I got your number, can I text you? Maybe Cole and I can come see how you live on game day.
Sure, yeah. I love that. I'd love that.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gary. As always, man, we appreciate you.
Hey, guys, love being with you guys. Appreciate your interest in us, and look forward to hosting, and thanks for what you do for college football.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, Gary.
Gary Stokin, Peach Bowl Incorporated CEO. I'll tell you this, Diesel, and look, I know Gary's already off the line, and he doesn't need to hear this because he knows it already, but that guy for the position, and I don't know if Artolo's realized this, Diesel, but for the position that guy's in, to have been as good to us as he has been over the last year and a half, come on, I mean, he's the one, just so you know, his team's the one that reaches out to us. We never have initiated the interview. They always reach out to us. He's so kind. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss having him on, and what that organization's done for charities and deals. I mean, it makes you want a guy like that in charge of the sport, because everything he said, I agree with.
It's very true. And you know, as well as I do, Cole, in this business, and, you know, we're fairly low in the overarching picture of what this business is. And Gary Stokin is at the tippy top. And it's always the people who are at the top who are the nicest, who are the easiest to deal with. And they've gotten there for a reason, because they're great people and they're easy to get along with, and they're generous with their time. And of course, we can't say too many times how grateful we are for him. And Cole, you and I just got an invitation into the CEO suite. I'm just gonna put that out there. Remind you of that.
You can forget covering the game now, right? that'll not end.
What game?
Yeah, game. Oh, game. We're supposed to be in the press box. That's good stuff.
I couldn't see the field over the shrimp cocktail that I'm going to be eating.
He's awesome. He really is.
Looking forward to it. When we come back, Cole, let's take our whip around the sports world, see what's going on out there in a segment we call our Daily Wires.
Leave your namby-pamby sports takes at the door. Call in if you're man enough.
844 Fan Phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, we spent the first 49 minutes of the show talking about college football. Let's talk about something else for a minute. Cole, how about that? Here's our daily wires. The buzz happening around the sports world, and I lied. We're going to start with college football.
Oh my God.
The SEC will officially play a 9-game conference schedule starting next year in 2026. And it's an historic move. The Big Ten has been pushing for it for years, and the SEC has finally caved under the pressure.
You know what? We talked about it yesterday. I just wish I could say that I was surprised by this. And you know what? Here we go. Everybody else is going to follow suit now. Watch.
Yeah, the ACC is now the last conference that doesn't play nine conference games.
Right. ACC will follow suit.
Veteran reliever Craig Kimbrell and the Houston Astros agreed on a major league contract, adding a fresh arm to the Astros bullpen as they try to hold on to their lead in the American League West. Some injury news out of NFL preseason games. Steelers first-round pick Derek Harmon was carted off the field after sustaining a knee injury in last night's final preseason game against the Carolina Panthers. Eagles wide receiver Johnny Wilson will undergo season-ending knee and ankle surgery. The injury occurred during Tuesday's practice. Wilson appeared to get rolled up on during a Saquon Barkley run play, fell down awkwardly. They had to help him off the field before eventually carting him inside.
Not good.
No, it's not. The father of Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown was accused of attempted murder in connection with a stabbing Wednesday night in Las Vegas. Quentin M. Brown, of 57 years old, was arrested Thursday morning and booked into the Clark County Detention Center. He made his first court appearance Thursday afternoon and is due back in court on Tuesday. His bail bond was set at $300,000.
That's a weird story, unfortunate story. And why? I don't like hearing about these athletes' stats, man. Like it just kind of like that. That's a little bit more dramatic than some of these other stories. But man, that's awful.
In its 2025 season opener in college soccer, number 9 Clemson men's soccer team played number 11 Indiana to a 2-2 draw. South Carolina men's soccer down the College of Charleston 3-2. And in women's soccer, the number 16 Lady Gamecocks defeated the number 25 Ohio State Buckeyes 1-0. A 48-minute rain delay couldn't cool down Texas Rangers number 8 prospect Caden Scarborough, who threw 5 shutout innings in a 3-0 Spartanburgers victory yesterday over the Greenville Drive. University of South Carolina Athletics has agreed to a new 10-year partnership with Nike, a worldwide leader in athletic apparel. Nike will supply all 21 of the Gamecocks athletic programs with uniforms, footwear, apparel, and equipment. No more Under Armour for South Carolina.
I'll tell you what, man, that's big, and we're going to talk about that at 4:45, I believe, Diesel. Some audio from Jeremiah Donati, the AD. That's a big deal. Like that partnership, I know some background with people who have worked with both Under Armour and South Carolina in their previous partnership. That was a really strong partnership. So it's kind of surprising to me, but as Jeremiah Donati said, you'll hear the audio, it was all about money. Nike gave him the better deal.
Couple of quickies here for you. The Carolina Panthers announced a new 2-year, $44 million contract extension for right tackle Taylor Moton. South Carolina fans are going to see George Rogers on the field as an honorary captain for the 2025 AFLAC kickoff game between Virginia Tech and number 13 South Carolina. Let's see, the Tour Championship at Eastlake Round 2 in Atlanta is underway, and as of right now, Cole, look who's sitting there at the tippy top of the leaderboard. Tommy Fleetwood tied for first with Russell Henley.
Tommy.
He's all over it. He just can't get the win right now.
Dallas Cowboys of golf, right? Win the part that doesn't matter until the end. He collapses.
And finally, last one here for you. We are seeking to break a record for the most week 0 upset picks in Upset Picks Challenge history.
We're gonna do it.
Secretly, we've already beat it, but we set a bigger bar than just that. We're going to try to hit 100 entries. We're currently, Cole, at 83. We need 17 more Tolos to give us their upset pick by the end of the show today.
And we've had a lot today. We've had a lot of upset picks already in the day. We're going to get it. I have no doubt we're going to get 100. It's going to be a great opening weekend in college football, even though it's only a few games, handful of 5 games. but it'll still be a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, every Friday during football season, 4 o'clock, we talk to Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network. We'll talk to Smitty and be joined by him next on Fan Upstate.
ready? Let's go. From the fields to the courts and the gridiron to the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
Well, it's been, I don't know, 8 months or so, 7 or 8 months. All I know is it's been 1 or 2 months too long. What am I talking about? Last season, 2024, every Friday at 4 p.m., we were joined by Smitty of Sports Talk Media Network right here on the Fan Upstate. And Smitty has graciously agreed to join us at 4 p.m. again this football season. You Tolos love hearing him. Here in the upstate, Spartanburg, Greenville, parts of Anderson as well. And Smitty joins us on the Fan Upstate again every Friday, 4 o'clock. Smitty, I know you are involved with high school football broadcast as I am, but you spend a lot of time covering high school football in the upstate. And if you saw what I'm seeing right now in Duncan, South Carolina, the brand new home of Nixon Field, the Burns Rebels, you would truly be blown away. A big difference in what you saw and I saw for many, many years here in Duncan.
Well, I'm happy for you and I'm happy, obviously, for all of the kids that get to play there and the fans that get to go enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I remember it was such a big deal kind of in the early 2000s. There were only 2 objects you could see from space, the Great Wall of China and Burns Jumbotron. And now I see you guys have stepped it up even more now. And this is what, playing on the road all last season, this is what it was all about. Now, I really appreciate that introduction, too. And I am on my way to a high school game in Wando in Mount Pleasant. But, I think you should let the listeners in on the truth. You said, when Smitty joined us, and it's been a couple of months, what happened was I made a smart remark about LeBron James, and you hung up and didn't call, you didn't text, you didn't write.
Oh, man.
That's not true.
This is better radio than asking you sports questions. Just bag on Cole.
No, that's not true. I love you, Smitty. Smitty, for those that don't know, I would never do that. I will say this, Diesel, because Smitty has helped me along the way. 13 seasons ago, I started broadcasting high school football. This is my 13th season. I got into radio because I was keeping stats as a junior in high school at Boiling Springs, Diesel. And that year, my junior year in high school, I kept stats, and the station that carried Boiling Springs, Smitty, was the manager of. And Smitty played a big part in me getting my foot in the door in radio. 13 years later, I still love talking to Smitty. So you know that, Smitty. I don't have to tell you that I appreciate you as always. But you can bag on me about LeBron. I can't find anything bad to say about you.
Oh, no. Wow. Now you're just winning everybody over. Well, as always, I'll give you something before the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
Before we leave each other today, I'll give you and Diesel something that you can make fun of me about.
Right.
Because I'll say something, I'll step on my tongue here in a minute.
Smitty, let's talk a little ball, shall we? Let's get into these Clemson Tigers and South Carolina Gamecocks. Sort of a big overarching question. Which is more likely to happen in your mind? That Clemson wins fewer than 10 games or South Carolina wins more than 8?
Oh, I think it's South Carolina winning more than 8. I think Clemson's really set up this season. Not only do they have a veteran group and then a lot of talented players to replace any of the pieces they lost last season, Clemson's in prime position once they get past LSU. It's going to be smooth sailing most of the season. Now, things can happen. You saw what happened at Louisville last season that stepped up, played a great game, and knocked Clemson down a peg. But that can happen. But I think Clemson is well on its way to 10-plus wins this year and back to the college football playoff. And I think South Carolina has a good chance of winning more than 8. So that's why I'd say they're going to win. More likely for South Carolina to win more than 8 than Clemson to lose 2 or 3, to lose 3, I guess. Because I do think South Carolina has a lot of great potential. Now, they've got a difficult schedule, and it doesn't set up that well. But what we need to know about South Carolina, and it's this era of the transfer portal, I don't know how some of these players will perform. And all you have to do is look back at last season. And I should say this, we're starting to get character from these teams, meaning in the era before the transfer portal, you could see, you always knew that, okay, Penn State was going to have a good linebacking core. All right, Clemson's always going, when they had Danny Ford, they're always going to have really good offensive linemen. And Oklahoma was always going to have good linemen. And Alabama was going to rush the pass. You know all these things. Well, South Carolina's character has started to become, they hit often in the transfer portal. No one saw Kyle Kennard making that kind of impact last year. So I say all of that to say this, will some of the players who we have not been able to see with our own two eyes, like a Razul Faison if he gets eligible, or even a Gustave transfer running back, did they hit again on some of these players from the portal? That's the answer we need. That's the question we need an answer to before I really know how good South Carolina is going to be around Lenore Sellers.
All right, Smitty, this one is a difficult one for you that I'm going to throw at you. In terms of the two teams, particularly the two quarterbacks, Lenore Sellers, Cade Klubnik, you, Sports Talk Media Network, you guys cover both Clemson and South Carolina. When your back is giving you problems, Smitty, are you an ibuprofen guy, Tylenol guy, et cetera? And which one are you? And then I'm going to ask you the question.
All right, I don't think I've got a real preference, although because I grew up in the South, I think Richard Petty convinced me to take Goody's powder.
Okay, Goody's is fine as well. That's an acceptable answer. Which quarterback in your mind? Look, we all know who has more weapons. Cade does, right? Cade has the weapons. He's got the receivers, maybe one of the best receiving rooms in college football. But which quarterback in your mind, if the talent were equal, 50-50 across the board, same weapons at Clemson, same weapons at South Carolina, Lenoris not having to use his back much and carry his teammates, which quarterback's better given the exact same weapons?
Oh, well, now this is a wonderful question. This is a wonderful question. And let me preface it with this. I won't back out of it. I'll give you my answer. I will stand by my answer. But I want to preface it with this just to give you a little background. I projected Cade to have a really good year last season. I was covering him in the ACC, at the ACC Media Days, they call it ACC Kickoff in Charlotte. And I just felt this calmness about him. And he wasn't braggadocious at all. It just seemed that Cade had grown so much from his experiences, I guess, freshman and sophomore year. And I just projected he was going to have a really nice year if the pieces around him grew at the receiving corner. As you just mentioned, like Brian Wesco and players like that, and getting Antonio Williams healthy and all these things. And those things happen. And he did have a very nice year, especially toward the tail end of the season. And I was so impressed with Cade because I really enjoyed meeting with him. Lenore Sellers, I shrugged my shoulders heading into last season. And at the beginning of last year, I thought Cade was pretty far ahead of Lenore Sellers. But I will say, I would take Lenore for this particular reason.
Ooh.
I think, and we will see come in this we'll actually probably see this play out because of what I'm about to say. I think when the chips are down and you need someone to make a play, I trust Lenoris more to do that than I do Cade. Now, here's the thing, though. Cade's chips won't be down very often. More often than not, he'll be playing from ahead. He can move out of the pocket. He can make plays with his legs. Let's not forget that. He just doesn't have to very often. But I think Lenoris is a tick better at that because of his athleticism. And now all of this depends on if what we hear out of the camps is true. Is Lenoris more accurate? Is Lenoris a little bit better in terms of awareness in the pocket and footwork and standing on a platform and firing and utilizing all of his weaponry out there? If that's true, then I think it's going to be Lenore Sellers by a tick. But will you see it play out that way on the field? Not most of the time, because most of the time, say Clemson's got that trip to Pitt later in the year, that's a really tough trip. But, man, the guys wearing orange are going to be a lot more athletic than the guys wearing blue and yellow. They'll be praying for rain or snow or something. So when he's firing to those receivers, as Mark Packer used to say, the frisbee-catching dogs that Clemson can recruit, then Cade's just going to look really nice. And Lenoris will be running for his life half the season against some really good defenses. But I think if it were even footing, if everybody were playing with the same chess piece. I think I've got Lenoris by a hair, but I could change my mind if Cade lights up at that LSU defense.
So, Smitty, you touched on my next question just a little bit there. You look back at last season, and it was a little better than the season before that. When it comes to Cade's sort of, why did he just do that decision making? I'm thinking of, pull the ball in 2023 against Miami. There was a fumble in the red zone last year against Duke. How confident are you in Cade's development from 2023 to 24, now to 25, in minimizing even further those kinds of, let's call it, boneheaded decision making?
Do I have this right? I think what we're going to have at Clemson this year, head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterback all there for the third consecutive year. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm right about that, I think that's what is going to lead to a lot of success for what you just mentioned, which was some of what you said, some of the Cade's curious play, head-scratching plays. But now, come on, ownership of the playbook, those kinds of things come usually from indecision, right? Lack of confidence with what you're doing. But now I would suspect the playbook's fully in. There's nothing they're talking about in that quarterback room. Cade Klubnik could probably coach the quarterbacks now at this stage. He would know that playbook so well. He knows what's expected of him from head coach down to coordinator, all the way down. He knows what is expected of him, and he knows how. He's run those plays either in his head or on the field hundreds and hundreds of times. I just expect that's going to clean itself up based on the experience level of Cade Klubnik. If it doesn't, and by the way, we've seen guys go to the NFL and make kind of, everybody remembers the butt fumble with Mark Sanchez. We've seen this kind of follow guys to the NFL, but I don't think it will with Cade Klubnik. I think that's just a fact of just growing pains. And it used to be a quarterback would sit for 2 seasons before he was forced to go out and play in front of the world. Well, that's not the case anymore. Cade Klubnik's been taking all of his snaps on national television, and we've been picking apart each one of them. So I expect all that to be fine.
We're joined by Smitty, Matt Smith, Sports Talk Media Network, every Friday at 4 o'clock right here on the Fan Upstate, second year in a row that Smitty joins us at 4 p.m. Smitty, you mentioned you are involved in high school football down in the lower part of the state. Tell us, number one, what you're doing this season, if it's the same as last year, but also, number two, serious question here. I looked at the radar. Are you guys playing football tonight? Looks like a lot of rain down that way.
It does seem like a lot of rain, and I'm going to put this as delicately as I can. The wonderful people at Wando, which I don't know where they rank in terms of the size, but it's one of the largest high schools in South Carolina. Top 5, and one of the nicest facilities. Beautiful new stadium that's only been around for a few years, District 2 Stadium. And they had seen fit to put me outside despite.
Whoa.
So we're going to be broadcasting outside in this oncoming monsoon, and we're just going to see how it goes. I might be electrocuted this evening. It'll still be the last time you hear me, but we'll see.
Can you make a phone call real quick, Smitty?
I don't know what to say. Wow. I don't know. Let's just hope it all works out.
Nobody from Wando's listening to this station up here in the upstate. Let them have it, Smitty. Let it go at it. Go ahead. Fire off.
No, and you know how these things are. You and I both called games outside, hanging. I've called them over a cell phone. We've done that. That's what you do. You do it for the kids, and that's what you do when you are broadcasting. I'm only taking a shot at them because I can't see the road currently, and so just a little concerning as I head in. But yeah, at last check, we are still ready to go. But I do expect delays. It's going to be, I brought a snack, I brought a lunch because it's one of those nights, and you've been through those as well, and we get them a lot on the coast.
Smitty, we know that there's some big changes coming down in college football. There's a supposed crackdown on fake injuries and, players pulling out the fake gun and shooting the quarterback after a sack. But the biggest change in college football on the way is that next year the SEC is going to 9 conference games. I was looking at all these schedules across SEC teams. Most of them play 1 FCS and 2 G5s. What do you think happens now that they're going to be limited down to just 3 out-of-conference opportunities, and even some who are playing, regular rivalry games out of conference? Now they're going to be limited down to 2. If you're an SEC athletic director or scheduling officer putting this stuff together, how are you adjusting your schedule? Are you killing off the FCS game, one of the G5s? How are you handling that?
Yeah, I personally, that's the direction I would look. What I'm afraid of, what actually I have a fear of, is they won't be able to save those kickoff games. LSU, Clemson, South Carolina, Virginia Tech. Are we going to continue to get those in the future? Now, I think games like South Carolina and Clemson are safe. I can't even believe that's come up as a talking point previously about. But the SEC, because meaning the SEC powers. I'm not talking about South Carolina and Missouri and Arkansas. I'm talking about Alabama and Georgia and Florida. For years, they talked about making sure they maintain the ability to schedule like those G5 games and everything. But what would I do? I don't see how it does you any good. And with apologies to all of the great players and coaches that are part of FCS, I think we should have graduated past that. I know they get money for that, but the G5 teams get money as well. I just think we should have graduated past this. There's no reason, and I love Charleston Southern. I love going to that North Charleston area and seeing them play. There's no reason they should be playing Alabama on a Saturday on your television. There just isn't. There's barely any reason that Bowling Green should, but I know we have to live with that. So the first thing I would do is cut the FCS games off and at least force the SEC teams or request that the SEC teams play at least an FBS team. And then I would do everything in my power not to touch, clean old-fashioned, hey, Georgia Tech, and South Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State. I would make sure that everybody was agreed upon, it was all agreed upon that we're not going to touch those games. We're going to make sure that the playoffs start in a way, at a date that those teams don't feel like they need, any time off for the conference title games or anything like that. So how would I handle it as an AD? I would have handled it years ago and stopped scheduling FBS teams. Put your big boy pads on and at least play an FBS program.
Smitty, where do you stand on Alabama 2025? Kalen DeBoer, we kind of joked about it yesterday. I said a shaky season in his first year, and Diesel was like, shaky. They went, only four long, whatever it was a season ago. And I said, yeah, lost to Vandy and Michigan. That'll do it at Alabama. Are we maybe a season ago, did we make too much of the start that DeBoer had? Do you feel like that train will be right back on the track in 2025?
I don't know. I do anticipate Alabama being good. There's just too much talent there. Sure. And if there is if Alabama is not going to be a superpower any longer, and most people, I'd say a lot of analysts already believe that they've hit that mark. That as good as Kalen DeBoer is, there was just something about that marriage between Nick Saban and the Alabama program. But let me throw a third factor in there, and that NIL and transfer portal. There are just these seismic shifts in college football that happen from time to time. Television was one of them. Realignment was another one of them. And then you get transfer portals and NIL. And these are just seismic shifts that change the complexion of the sport. And not every team is going to make it to that next round. Like Nebraska, people can't believe this. Nebraska was an absolute blue blood of college football, but that has changed with realignment. They just didn't keep up. They just fell by. Now maybe they'll bounce back and it'll be fine. But if they do, everyone will say, "What a shocker! What a surprise! Nebraska looks like Nebraska of old." And what I'm questioning when I bring this up, I expect Alabama to be good this year, but is NIL and transfer portal, was that the death knell for Alabama in terms of dominating the national title picture? Was it Saban's retirement? I think they're going to be good, but to expect them to do anything like they did before, they're mortal now, right? They might be good, they might be great, but they're mortal. They just cannot duplicate what they did in the previous era. And I think that's probably going to fall right on Kalen DeBoer, and it may not be his fault. Is there anyone that could have taken that job and continued at the fever pitch of success that Saban, that level? I don't think anybody could have. And Kalen DeBoer is a heck of a football coach, but is he the right coach for Alabama? Is that another good marriage? And for Alabama fans, and I hope it is for the rest of college football, I'm okay if Alabama comes down a notch because I wouldn't mind seeing a little more parity in that sport.
Smitty, can we get you to participate in the Upset Picks Challenge again this year?
Oh yeah, but I don't. You'll have to. What games are eligible now?
We have
up on a Thursday.
We have 5 games, so we're going to break out this weekend's games as quote unquote week 0, and then next week's games will all be week 1. So this week you've got 5 games to choose from. So it's not a lot of options here for you, but you got Iowa State, Kansas State with Iowa State +3 if you want that one. You could take Idaho State 26.5 over UNLV. You could take Fresno State +14.5 against Kansas, Sam Houston +10 against Western Kentucky, or Stanford +2.5 against Hawaii.
You know what? I'm going to take that. I think it's in. Are they going to Ireland? Iowa State, Kansas State.
Yep.
That one's in Ireland. Okay. Yeah, give me the underdog there because things are funky when you transatlantic ball game. Always give me the underdog, right? Because you just don't know how everybody's going to react. Plus, in the Big 12, should anybody be favored? Should any Big 12 team be favored over another Big 12 team? I have no idea who's going. Arizona State could go first or worst for all I know this year. So I when it comes to the Big 12, I usually like the underdog. So that's a good one. I'll take Iowa State and Matt Campbell over Kansas State and whoever the heck their coach is now.
Smitty, you're the absolute best as always. We appreciate you. Look forward to talking to you at 4 o'clock every Friday right here on the Fan Upstate. I know our Tolos in the Upstate enjoy it as well.
Absolutely. Enjoy that new stadium, too.
Yes. Have a good call, brother.
Thanks, man.
Smitty, Sports Talk Media Network. You heard him right here on the Fan Upstate. So many people, every time we have him on, text the Hub City Spartanburgers text line and talk about just how good it is to hear Smitty back on the airwaves in the Upstate. Him, Phil Kornblut, they do a good job, a great job, rather, with Sports Talk Media Network. So give him a follow. Check him out if you haven't done so already. Diesel, Phil Kornblut was set up right behind us at ACC kickoff this past year, and he was a victim, as we were, to the guy who decided it was a good idea to pull the plug on the power in the internet. Remember that?
Yeah, for sure.
That was such a bad day, but a weird time it was. But always thanks to Smitty.
It's a good thing Smitty was ultra diplomatic there because you said we have nobody listening from down there in the lower part of the state, and then boom, we get a text message from somebody who says, "Wando listener here, Mount Pleasant represent." So you might have been getting Smitty in trouble.
Sorry, Dexter. Let me say this. If you're listening from the lower part of the state, which I know people do, Tom in Somerville and this texter that says Wando listener, look here, do us a favor, find out who the AD is, and I can make a couple of calls and probably have it fixed in an hour, but we got to get our boy Smitty in the press box. There has been a hurricane that just passed by the East Coast, and that guy's going to be calling football outside. That is pathetic, Diesel. I mean, I'll take the blame there. It was me, not Smitty. Be upset with me, but calling a game outside, man, that's rough. I feel for him. Hopefully he's got an umbrella or 4.
Cole, we are less than 15 picks away from meeting our week 0 goal of 100 picks. I think we can do it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll make another push on the other side of the break for you to get your wire-to-wire upset picks in for week 0. And I want to ask all the Tolos the question, who you got in the best bar scene, Clemson or 5 Points Columbia? Who you got? The best bars, rate them up, call in, text in. Which bar scene is the absolute goated compared to the other? That's coming your way next. 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, and everywhere on the
844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Cole, we're so close. So close. 88 picks already in week 0 of the Wire to Wire Upset Picks Challenge, brought to you by Ingles. 85 was a goal we thought we could hit, and we've already blown past it. And now 100 is right there in our sights. I think we can do it now here with 2.5 hours left of the show here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Tolos, if you haven't yet given us your week 0 upset pick, do it now. What are we talking about? What is this upset picks challenge? Cole, tell them what they need to do.
Well, they need to listen to Diesel and I and look, open the ESPN app, but don't do it while you're driving. Of course, we don't want you to do it while you're driving. And make sure you're on FBS, Division I, all games, not top 25, underscores. There are 5 games this weekend. All we need you to do, if you love college football and love competing, you find one game where you feel like the underdog, whoever is not favored, can win the game outright. So if Clemson, again, they're not playing this weekend, but if they are the underdog, you feel like they can win a game outright, not covering the spread, you take Clemson. So, for example, let's find the text in the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. Perfect example right here. This is a great text right here. Just a few seconds ago. 844-326-3663. John Corley, Iowa State plus 3.5 over Kansas State. Diesel, that's perfect, right? That's all we want right there. So if Iowa State wins the game outright, John will have 3.5 points. It's a rolling total all season long. You get 1 point taken away if you miss, 2 points taken away if you don't participate each week. Diesel, I threw out that 100 number yesterday, kind of joking, but we definitely can hit it. And I'll even tell you, look, I like making, if we're going to do something, let's do it big. Let's do it big, right? So that's why I threw out 100 yesterday. This is more than we had last year in week 0, right? Way more.
Yep.
So I'm going to do one better. You ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Not only can we get 100 in by show close today, we can get to 100, but which means we need how many more?
We need, at this exact moment,
count John.
We need 11 more.
Not only can we get 100, Diesel, we can get 100 by the end of the segment.
What?
End of the segment.
That's
7 minutes. Tolos, 11 more. If you have never look, there are hundreds and thousands of people at any given time listening to this show in the upstate of South Carolina. 97.1 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, 97.7 in Greenville, parts of Anderson as well. We have Tolos in Anderson that text in every day. Lower part of the state, Somerville. We have evidently somebody in Wando that was listening a few minutes ago. Tyler R. in Easley needs to fix his pick. Diesel, I believe DB did let us know it was wrong. Not sure exactly what was wrong with it, but Tyler R., if you can text back in, Diesel can help you out with that. But, yeah, 11 Tolos who have never participated in the Upset Picks Challenge by the end of the segment. I think it's a possibility. I think we can do it. You and I both made our picks, Diesel, to rehash, to remind our Tolos, because it's been 2 days since we did this. You picked who in your Upset Picks Challenge this week?
I picked Iowa State over Kansas State. I think they're a more complete team. It's 3 points. I don't think any of these other ones are going to hit. Like, I know that I'm possibly leaving points on the table with the 10-pointer and the 13-pointer. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm not going for Idaho State plus 26.5 over UNLV. But I genuinely don't think the Sam Houston pick is going to hit. I don't think this Fresno State pick is going to hit. So I'm playing it conservative here in week 0 with still a long way to go. And I'm taking Iowa State plus 3 over Kansas State.
So Tolos, if that hits, Diesel will have 3 points. The line's moved to 3.5 now, but Diesel will have 3 points this week. Next week, if he hits again, whatever it is, you add that to it. It's a rolling tally, a rolling total to see who can end the season with the most points. That's how it works. Let's get 11 Tolos by the end of the segment. Right now, it's almost like a telethon. Text from the 887 says, did y'all get my pick in yesterday? I don't know who you are.
That's Bo. That's Bo. I went back and checked. Yes, Bo, we did get it. Now, Bo, make sure we fixed it for you because this is, still week 0, and I don't think we've ever seen you message in before and pick last year, for example. So I fixed it for you, but make sure you give us the full game and the spread. Bo, I think you texted in yesterday saying, hey, I'm Bo from Greer or whatever you said your name was, and I'll take Iowa State. Well, that's great, but you got to give us Bo, Iowa State +3 versus Kansas State. Give us the full game and the spread when you text in.
Diesel, I took a 10-point spread that's moved. I don't know if you noticed this. There's been a little movement in these lines, a half a point. I took Sam Houston. So here's how I'd send my text. Cole, Sam Houston +10 versus Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is favored now by 9.5, which means guess what? We're getting closer to Sam Houston having a shot at winning this thing, and Cole Bryson's going to have 10 points.
It's okay. You're going to squander them all throughout the course of the season.
I probably wouldn't. You hit again throughout the course of the regular season. I did horrible last year, but I picked Sam Houston. So if Sam Houston wins, I get 10 points. And I'm telling you what, I know 10 points in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot. But for me and these Tolos, Diesel, that picked this game, if you can start the season in week 0 with 10 points, that's massive. I don't know if it'll happen, but I just that's what I'm going. I'm not going like big swinger, 14.5, Kansas, Fresno State, or let's see, UNLV, Idaho State to 26.5 point spread. I like Sam Houston. I don't know what their mascot is. I don't know what part of Sam they're located in Houston. I don't know where their school. I don't know anything about Sam Houston. Diesel, you know their mascot? Are they
Bearcats?
I think I already asked you that. So you're the mascot king. You know all these mascots. Real quick.
They're coming in fast and furious right now, buddy.
Let's go. Oh, you know what I meant to say yesterday? There was a Tolo. They're coming in. I told you, we're going to hit 11 by the end of the segment, no doubt. Brennan, Buckeye, Irish, Mad Met, they're coming in left and right. But here's a good idea I saw from a Tolo yesterday, and I don't know who brought this up, Diesel, and I apologize for not remembering who it was. But, Tolos, get your wives to play. That way you and your wife can have a little bit of skin in the game. We can double our numbers here, right, on the upset picks. Diesel, isn't that a great idea? Let's involve wives this year.
Yeah.
Just Jess, Dan B's wife, guess what? She's the leader in this clubhouse. She's the best. She plays and participates every week in the Upset Picks Challenge brought to you by Ingles Market. So if just Jess can do it, get your wife in the game. That way y'all can have a little something to go back and forth about, right?
Yeah, do it. We would love to get you guys having fun together in the house, and maybe she's gonna not like that. I mean, maybe like that if that's your cup of tea. We're just trying to we're something the husband and wife can do. Your wife's probably asking all the time, "Hey, honey, can we go see the leaves? Can we go apple picking? Can we do this?" No, honey, we're playing the Upset Picks Challenge. That's what we're gonna do together every single week.
I love it.
Yeah.
Screw the apple orchard and the winery. We're playing the Upset Picks Challenge.
Right.
I love it.
Shout out. And by the way, Mad Mex, we got you here, but make sure you put the full game in your text. He texted in and said Iowa State 3.5. Mad Mex, make sure you text in the full game, Iowa State 3.5 versus Kansas State. You got to make sure you do that.
10, 9, 8.
Now we're at 94.
So we need 6 more?
We need 6 more. So Corn Chip got his in.
I mean, I can yell down this press box right now and get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this massive brand new press box that I'm sitting in, it burns, Diesel. I might can go, take up the offering during the commercial break and see if I can get some upset. I mean, we can do this. 100. I mean, we're going to have more than 100. This is awesome.
And you know what? Dan B on the stream is dead on here. We still got some no-shows from Tolos who have participated and done really well in this challenge before. Tyler R. in Easley. I think he's the one that we need to fix. Amazon guy, E. Thoughty, Tiger Pal Rachel, Rick in Greer. Where are you?
Oh, yeah,
where are you?
Where's our old pal, Tiger Pal Rachel at? I did see her name on the text line a few days ago, but I don't believe it was the Upset Picks Challenge. Tiger Pal Rachel, where you at? We miss hearing from you. Get your upset pick in, and anybody else listening out there too. I'll yell out the press box here. I'll get the band over there, Diesel. Whatever it takes, right?
It almost feels like you're trying to induce high school kids into gambling, Cole, and you shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't. Probably not the best thing to do. But the Upset Picks Challenge is the best thing to do. It's sponsored by Ingles.
We can just stop taking submissions now, Cole. Christy Mann has gotten her pick in.
Bam.
She's taking Sam Houston versus Western Kentucky.
Look here.
Right on.
3 more. West Virginia fan 214 just got in. Christy Mann. We love Christy Mann. Christy Mann's a Tolo. She saw us, what was that, back in the spring? When we were
it was the South Carolina Clemson baseball game.
Right. She got mad at me because I was talking a little trash that day, right?
Well, she was mad because South Carolina lost that day.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You said it. Alan B, Big Al. There's Bam right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 2 more? Or
yeah, we're at 98.
98. 2 more.
98. We can do it.
Let's go. By the way, the amount of years that you guys, even before I joined you a year ago when we started this show, Diesel, you've never had this many entries in week 0, right? This is the all-time record.
Never had this many in week 0. You know, last year I think we set the standard. We set a new standard of about 125 in any given week, especially early in the season. I know people sort of taper off at the end once they kind of get in their mind, oh, I'm not going to do very well in this challenge. Well, that's bogus. That's BS. People have come from behind and gotten on a heater down the last half of the season. So don't give up. Don't quit playing just because you think I'm 30 points back. I don't really have a chance to win this thing. You can do it.
Yeah,
you can go on a heater in the last 5-6 weeks and do really well for yourself.
Diesel, you mentioned it in the Daily Wires earlier today. South Carolina made a big change yesterday. They are now a Nike program, leaving Under Armour. There was a press conference about it this morning, unveiling of new jerseys and audio from the athletic director, Jeremiah Donati. We'll have that audio for you next.
your court. Sound off now at 844 fan phone.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, guess what? You call upon the Tolos and they deliver. No, that's not a Bible verse. That's just a fact. Because Diesel, I didn't know if it could be done, but I said not only can we hit 100, we can hit 100 in this segment. And we hit 102.
Yeah, we did.
How about
we did.
that, man?
I wonder if we can hit 125 by the end of the show.
I think so.
I think we could do it. Tolos, keep them coming.
I think so as well. It's really interesting. Let's see here. I've got some audio from Jeremiah Donati this morning, or yesterday rather, talking about the big announcement. South Carolina going from Under Armour to Nike. Want to give a quick shout out first to Gator Bobby, first ever upset challenge pick. Ken from Union. Let's see. CM Greenville, Tigerville Bo, Clemson 83, JWE. So many Tolos getting their upset pick in. Also, RJ texts the Hub City Spartanburgers text line and asking the Dorman Cavaliers get a shout out. Thank goodness high school football is back. Let's go Cavs, says RJ. And yeah, Dorman absolutely gets a shout out. They are in action tonight. By the way, Tolos, I'll give you my weekly picks at 5:20 on the show. Dorman playing Greenville, the 9th ever matchup between the two programs. Dorman won last year 42-35. And Greenville hadn't won since Greenville did win in 2023, but before that, it is quite some time before or since Greenville won against Dorman. So not a lot of history in that little matchup, Dorman at Greenville, but it'll be interesting tonight, and we'll talk about that game more at 5:20 on the show today. He's Diesel back in the Ingles Market Studios. I'm Cole Bryson, live from the brand new Nixon Field in Duncan, South Carolina. Diesel, let's hear this audio from AD Jeremiah Donati, who met with the media earlier this morning on why Under Armour chose not to match Nike's offer. So that's Jeremiah Donati, Diesel, the AD at South Carolina. He said Under Armour chose not to match Nike's offer for the Gamecocks. And look, they had a long-standing partnership, South Carolina and Under Armour did. I find it a little bit surprising, but in the world we live in, you got to have the best deal. And for whatever reason, Under Armour just wouldn't match. Does that surprise you a little bit that Under Armour wouldn't match Nike there?
It does, because I'm looking at the list, and this is, I'm sure, not an exhaustive, complete list of schools that wear Under Armour. South Carolina is among, if not the highest profile member of that group of teams that wear it. Army, BC, Coastal, Maryland, Navy, Northwestern, Notre Dame wears Under Armour. South Carolina, Utah, Wisconsin, Yale. There may be a few others on top of that.
And Auburn just left.
Right. So, but South Carolina and Notre Dame, they're probably, neck and neck, or not too far off as far as how much exposure that Under Armour can get for seeing that patch, that stitching there show up on live TV. So I'm a little confused as to why they didn't do that. They're letting their one of their biggest properties walk over a couple of bucks.
It's interesting. Again, I don't have the details of the deal, but and I don't know exactly what it was, but man, you look at that list of Under Armour schools now, and that thing's dwindling. Like it's dwindling in a big way. So it's Nike or nothing right now, it seems like.
Cole, we got so many of these messages coming in with upset picks. Just a reminder for those of you who are thinking about getting your upset picks, send them to us at 844-326-3663, and make sure every week when you text them in, you put your name on there the exact same way. So JWE, make sure you send it to us as JWE every single week. That way we don't get confused and think it's two different people sending their picks in. When we come back, Cole, we wrapped up, at least the Carolina Panthers did, wrapped up their preseason this year with a 19-10 loss at home to the Steelers. What did we learn from that game? Are there any changes possible coming to the roster based on what we saw last night? And a little bit of audio from all those involved. Coming your way next on the Fan.
fields to the courts, and the gridiron to the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
It's getting real, Cole. You're 2 hours away from calling opening kickoff. I mean, think about this, man. You have the opportunity to break in a new press box, stink it up, so to speak. Maybe not on the air because you're great at what you do, but maybe physically, I don't know. But you can call the first touchdown there at Nixon Field. You're calling the first game, and this is exciting stuff.
It is, man. I tell you, again, sometimes me and the people in my friend group who are so enthralled and ingrained with high school football, sometimes you just kind of make it just part of, what you do on a Friday night. But I'll tell you, man, in our neck of the woods, so to say, Diesel, where high school football is so big and we'll have, 8,000 people or so packed in the stadium tonight, you have to remind yourself, sometimes pinch yourself, because, there's a lot of jobs out there, college jobs, professional jobs. And I tell you what, I love what I get to do on Friday nights as good as any other job out there. I think this is the best radio job in the state in terms of being able to call Burns football on the radio. And man, this new press box, this new stadium, it's going to be a fun environment tonight. And District 5, they did it right. If you haven't seen, there is a time-lapse video that I tweeted out earlier this morning, Tolos, that is really, really fantastic. And the construction crews that built this stadium, they put this time-lapse video together, and it's spectacular. This stadium, these facilities, it, like I said in the very first hour of the show, Diesel, I called North Greenville football on the radio for a few years and traveled around the Southeast to different colleges. I went to North Alabama, West Florida, you name it, Florida Tech, rather, and the facilities don't compare to this. This is a high school stadium, and it's phenomenal. I love that I get the opportunity to call this game tonight and Burns football all season long, and hopefully it's something that I never lose interest in. It's one of my favorite things I do all year long.
These messages just keep coming in. We got you, Sherb. We got Pushkin. He's in. Lyman Rob, James Owens, Rory, Tyler R, JWE. Keep your upset picks coming here.
Is that Rory,
at 844.
Like Rory? Did he text in from the
McElroy?
course?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he's down in Atlanta. He could be listening. You never know.
Wow. That'd be
That'd be great. By the way, how is Rory doing today? I'm going to look up the live score here in just a second. The Tour Championship happening down in Atlanta.
Rory's second. No, I'm sorry. That's the world ranking right now. I'm sorry. I was looking at the world ranking.
Rory is tied for seventh.
Seventh?
At
Okay.
7 under overall. Now, there's a big gap between first, which is Tommy Fleetwood and Russell Henley tied for first at 13 under. You've got Cam Young third at 11 under. Thank you, ESPN, for popping up a big old fat ad right where I'm trying to read. A fat ad. Robert McIntyre, who obviously had his heart ripped out last week by Scotty Scheffler. He's sitting there tied for fourth. And who's 2 shots behind him? Scotty Scheffler.
I tell you what, man, you just can't rule them out. You can't rule them out. You never know. You just never know. It's football season's here, so we kind of throw golf to the wayside a little bit. But what's happening right now to end the golf season? It's fun to watch.
See, golf is smart though. They get their majors out of the way. Yeah, there's a couple of big events still down the stretch. The Players, the Tour Championship. You've got the Ryder Cup coming up, but they know to get on out of the way before college football and the NFL come in and take pretty much all of their weekend viewership. So Tolos, keep them coming. 844-326-3663. There's Kevin Buggs. He gets his in.
Let's go,
good
Kevin.
to hear from you, Kevin.
What's up, man?
Awesome as always. Keep them coming. 844-326-3663. And JB Owens brings up a good question on the stream. He says, when you text in, are you supposed to get a bounce back text message like you used to? You should, JB, unless you text in fairly regularly and then our system says, oh, this person texts a lot, we're not going to bug them with automatic bounce backs. But if you are basically only texting the show once a week, twice a week, you probably get that bounce back message. So if you get that bounce back, then it's confirmation that your pick is in. But I'm going through trying to be as meticulous as possible, catching every single one of these picks that come in.
Diesel, before we get into what happened last night, this is kind of Panthers related. Did you see a report from Adam Schefter 6 hours ago? In case you didn't, Adam Schefter tweeted out at 10:07 this morning that the Minnesota Vikings have inquired about trading for Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen, per league sources, with wide receiver Jordan Addison serving a 3-game suspension and Jalen Naylor dealing with a hand injury. Thielen could wind up starting opening night for the Vikings, his old team.
That would be interesting
if they can complete the trade. So how about that? We talked about, well, how's Renfro and Thielen going to be on the field at the same time? Well, maybe they're not going to be on the field at the same time, right? I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen, but we'll see. Thielen, just keep an eye on that if you're a Panthers fan.
We'd have to see what the offer is in return from the Vikings. Have you seen that part of it yet?
No, but I'll tell you this. If it's, again, this is nothing disrespectful toward Adam Thielen, but if it's anything worthwhile, I'm taking it. I'm sending them out. Especially, I mean, how much longer are you going to have the guy anyways, Diesel, you know?
Yeah, and look, maybe this would be the impetus for Adam Thielen to go on ahead and retire at the end of the season. You know, these guys like to go back and retire at the team that they were with for the longest time. Look, I think I still think the world of Adam Thielen as a wide receiver, even though he is getting a little bit older, the guy is he has been a really good receiver for the Panthers. I would hate to see him go, but you're right. When you've got a guy like Hunter Renfrow, who is very much in the same mold, when your wide receiver room is full and you need to make cut downs, this is maybe not a bad way to do it, depending on what you could get back from him. So that's really interesting. And we did have the Daily Wire earlier in the show today, Cole, that the Carolina Panthers have made an extension to was it Taylor Moton has gotten his extension with the Carolina Panthers. So awesome job for them to extend him. I know that he has been a big part of this Carolina Panthers line for a long, long time.
Yeah, Lefty Tiger on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line asks, what games are on the list for picks this weekend? Lefty, I just shot you a text back, but there's 5 games happening this weekend. If you open the ESPN app, go to scores. Those 5 games are all eligible because they all have a spread on those contests. So check it out, ESPN.com, the ESPN app. And those are the 5 games that you can choose from. And then next weekend, no worries. You'll have like 74 million games to choose from, right?
That's when it's going to get really fun starting next week. Just remember to be careful because we got games starting on Thursday, which means if you want that Thursday game, you're going to have to get your pick in before Thursday and before those Friday kickoffs as well. So if you like one of those early games in the week, then you got to be Johnny on the spot getting us those picks. But Cole, last night we saw our final Carolina Panthers preseason game, another loss, womp womp, 19-10. Look, I know you are you're very much in the camp that none of this stuff matters because it doesn't ultimately matter. Fans would like to see their team win. It would be exciting to walk out of the stadium feeling good because your team just won. But basically none of the Carolina Panthers starters played last night. It was just more and more depth guys. And I think really the biggest thing we saw last night, and I didn't really see this one coming, it was the quarterback battle for that 3rd quarterback spot on the roster between Jack Plummer, who's been around for a couple of years, and Bryce Perkins, the relative newcomer. I mean, both of those guys played okay. Jack did have an interception. I think Bryce did too as well, but Jack threw his interception in the end zone, and you just can't do that. Yeah. Bryce Perkins went 10 for 11 for 71 yards, and he looked really good.
You know what it's about when you talk about preseason, like last night, for example, 19-10 win for Pittsburgh over Carolina. You look at Bryce Perkins and Jack Plummer for Carolina, and if you're a football fan out there today, you're thinking, why in the world are we doing this? What is the point in this preseason stuff, right? Like if Bryce Perkins and Jack Plummer aren't going to go, they're not going to be in the mix. Why are they out there? Well, somebody has to throw these guys the ball, right? Like when you look at Dominique Daphne and TJ Luther and Jimmy Horn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 Panther receivers saw action last night. And of those 14, 12 of them accounted for a reception. So it's not all about, like Diesel said, it's not all about the wins and losses. It's not all about the quarterback performance. It's really about just being able to distribute the ball and play everybody. Pull the Dabo, throw them all out there, see what you've got, and just know how to fine-tune this roster, because that's the GM's job, right? Like, these preseason games are built for general managers, unless you're Jerry Jones, where we don't have a GM. They're built for GMs, Diesel. They got to know, what cuts to make, who to cut, who to keep. And I know fans want to win. Trust me, I get it. But guess what? I'm a Cowboys fan, and the way I view preseason is hopefully our staff, whoever's, running things, hopefully we're allowing these 3 games to show us who can make the chart, who can make some or give us some depth later on in the season if needed. But let's be honest, the guys that matter, they're not out there. So this is all about making sure the right depth is on the roster for your team.
Some audio from that game last night. This was Jack Plummer's sort of redemption arc here. He threw that interception in the end zone early, and then he came back, Cole, and found a wide receiver. I don't know what happened on this play. I don't know if the Steelers defense just fell asleep at the wheel, or if the wide receiver was just that good on his break and that convincing, but he was wide open with nobody around him in the back corner of the end zone. And here was Jack Plummer's touchdown to James Mitchell to make it 10-7 at the time. This was in the second quarter.
And they changed up their protection. There's a blitz. Plummer throws back for the end zone. Wide open. A touchdown. Yes, sir. Great job.
I mean, there was nobody anywhere near him. A good-looking play from Jack Plummer. And again, if you have a mistake like that, which does happen in preseason games, these are not the number ones. If you have that kind of mistake, if you can turn around and make up for it with a beautiful pass like that, and hey, even if he had been covered, that probably would have been a touchdown because he placed the ball beautifully, just kind of floated it up over his shoulder. That's how you keep your roster spot.
I like to hear. I'll tell you what, this preseason stuff, right? Like, the games are on TV, Diesel, because there's money at stake, right? They can make money. But here's the way to do it. I like how broadcasts in the preseason get loose and bring in, like, Steve Smith last night. He was on the broadcast. Let's say, let me ask the question: how could the NFL interest Cole Bryson in sitting down and watching that game last night? It was on. I did flip it on, but how could I watch more of it? Okay, I'm a football fan. I love football. I love seeing quarterbacks. I love seeing develop. I love it. I love X's and O's. How about bringing Jack Plummer's head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, Diesel, somebody from Purdue that coached Jack in college on the broadcast? I think these preseason opportunities or games give you more opportunities to have fun in the booth and be flexible and bring in some guys that we can learn. I mean, like, who right now in the upstate knows who Jack Plummer is? I mean, you said the other day, is his name on a van somewhere, in some part of town in the upstate working on somebody's faucets? Or
yeah.
But bring in these Purdue guys. That's where he went to college, by the way. I mean, I love football. I would like to know. I'm curious. I love learning, but if it's just the same old cookie cutter announcers, and it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, how many times do we talk about how with basketball in the NBA, these guys are instantly recognizable because they're not wearing something that covers their face, right? They're not wearing something that fundamentally changes the shape of their body. Look, we're human beings. We're wired to recognize patterns. We can sometimes recognize people by their body shape, by their tattoos, by, obviously without even looking at their faces. But to do that, to give us an opportunity to get to know these guys more often. And I would love to see graphics posted all over the field because, you'd put a little sensor in the quarterback's helmet and then the little infographic can follow them around everywhere. Show us their faces. Put that information on the screen. We need to know that information. I would love to see that, but you're right. Having their college coaches, having their ex-girlfriends, whoever it may be on the broadcast, I think it'd be a lot of fun because, in these preseason broadcasts, these guys, they get after it sometimes, and they'll throw some stuff out there on the air that they wouldn't normally put out there. I was impressed, was really impressed with Trevor Etienne and that big escape run that he had. That was nice to see. He's probably a lock to make the team, but obviously with a guy behind him like Raheem Blackshear, that guy might be competing for a roster spot as well. He may be looking at, possibly a practice squad spot.
Yeah, I think that that running back room, that depth chart, looking at the running back position for the Panthers, I think it's interesting. I mean, Chuba Hubbard, I'm not like just completely down on Chuba. I think Chuba can have, success in the NFL still. I know that he's had an up and down journey in the last few years. If he stays healthy, I think Chuba can be a number one guy. I don't know if I'm sold on him being like the guy that helps turn this Panthers franchise and organization around. I think there's still some room to upgrade at running back, Diesel, especially if you talk about just a consistent back there in the backfield. But you have Rico Dowdle, who former Cowboy, comes in now. You mentioned Etienne and Blackshear. The running back room is really interesting because while Chuba Hubbard is RB1, I think there's some room there. I think I think it's his job, but I think there's some playing time and rotation that can be worked in, and I think you're going to see Rico Dowdle a good bit. We talk about this receiver room with Ted McMillan and Jalen Coker and Jimmy Horn and Adam Thielen and Hunter and all these guys and XL. Don't we let David Moore, so many receivers, but I think this Panthers running back room in 2025, Diesel, is something we need to watch because if this Panthers team wants to turn the corner, turn the page, and really elevate the franchise, I'm watching this running back position this season with a close eye, meaning if it doesn't get it done production-wise, we've got to go in the offseason, whether it be in free agency or in the draft, and elevate this thing. Chuba Hubbard's not, again, Panther fans may disagree. I don't know if Chuba Hubbard's the guy that's going to help elevate this offense to the next level and help you get to the playoffs. Rico Dowdle, I certainly don't think he's that guy either. So I really think while there's a lot of conversation to be had about this receiving room, we need to really pay attention in 2025 to the running back position.
Yeah, I had a lot of hopes for Chuba Hubbard coming out of Oklahoma State. I thought he had the potential of being a really good back for the Carolina Panthers. I think Chuba Hubbard's probably a stronger number 2 second option than he is as an every down kind of back. And maybe the Carolina Panthers can upgrade with a really good RB1 and have Chuba Hubbard kind of be that change of pace guy. Cole, you watched the entire broadcast. I just watched the highlights. Did we ever get any live check-ins with Bryce Young, with Ted McMillan, and other players on this roster?
The entire, so I don't know.
Okay.
I know we have at points during the season. I didn't get to watch the entirety of the broadcast last night, but I do know at times I saw an interview with Ted McMillan, not last night, but the game before, where the sideline reporter was able to check in with him. So I know that's where all the eyes are with him being the round 1 draft pick. I get it.
I mean, I know we got that long in-game interview with Aaron Rodgers, and, I generally tend to tune Aaron Rodgers out. He said, I took all the guys out to a retreat, and we had a good time hanging out. And, yeah, exactly. I don't even want to play the whole thing. It's friggin' 2.5 minutes long. But
how about, listen, I said this yesterday, and boy, I mean, what did I talk about yesterday on the show? The next game with Jackson Dart last night and Tommy DeVito, all of a sudden, Diesel, the big mess and fuss I made yesterday about you have Jackson and Tommy, they made this conversation even tougher last night. Jackson Dart looked really good last night. 1 touchdown, 6 of 12. Tommy DeVito was 17 of 20 with 3 tutties and 200 yards. Like I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again, this New York quarterback room is the most intriguing in the NFL. And Jameis Winston might be like, right now, not feeling too good about his job.
Is Tommy DeVito the new Matt Fitzpatrick? Like somehow he just he finds those moments to really show out and at least stay on a roster. I understand Matt Fitzpatrick. He started for a couple of teams, and he had that one season. What was it, in Tampa, where he was really, really good, and then he kind of never really recaptured that consistently going forward. But Tommy DeVito, he for whatever reason, he has got the riz. He's captured the imagination of fans and players, and they love him.
I don't know. Like, I at one point thought Tommy DeVito's NFL career might be slipping away, but like the dude can play. He was. I mean, and Jackson Dart might be like I said yesterday, I think he might be the future. in New York. Maybe just maybe you're seeing it play out right now that Jackson Dart's the future and Tommy DeVito is not going anywhere, and these two guys can really pair well as QB1 and QB2 for the New York Giants.
Cole, have you heard the audio yet of Shedeur Sanders responding to the audio that we played earlier in the week of Dylan Gabriel saying that he's a competitor, not an entertainer?
No, I can't wait. Though. Let me get on the edge of my seat.
Here we go. Here's Shedeur Sanders.
Honestly, I don't even think about nothing. I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, at this point, it can't do anything to me. I know, the God put the ability and the power within me to not even think about nobody else's comments, not care. It is what it is. I spoke with him. He said, nah, bro, that wasn't. He said, that wasn't. He told me on the plane. He came up. He was like, nah, bro, that wasn't at you. I see how they trying to spin. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not tripping, regardless of whatever it was. Nobody's words or anything affects me, So, yeah. Did I believe him? Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're trying to start stuff now. I feel like you're trying to start stuff. I mean, he's doing his job. He's supposed to. Do I feel like he did? I don't know. And that's not on me to sit here and be like, oh, he did it. That's not going to change my life in any way.
He was absolutely directing that at you, Shedeur. But, I give him some credit, Cole, for the maturity to say, look, it doesn't affect me. And he's doing his job. He's campaigning for a spot just like I am.
I plugged that transcript of what Shedeur Sanders said at the chat GPT, and it summarized it into sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's basically what Shedeur was saying there, right? It's what it sounded like.
Pretty much.
I don't know. Diesel, it's time to get to my weekly picks. I have shared the document with you. You are going to play the mediator, and I'm going to give you my picks. High school football week 0 is here. Burns pregame show in less than 2 hours right here on the Fan Upstate. But let's talk a little high school football, and I'll make my predictions next. Hour number 3 of the show coming right at you on the Fan Upstate. We're so happy. We're so proud of our Tolos. Today we broke 100, and Dan B., who is like the orchestrator of the Upset Picks data, he said, Diesel, officially we have beat our second week of last year that was 107. We're now at 109. That was like 20 minutes ago. Let's see. Philip Rollins got his in already. Clemson Jeff got his in. Fresno State plus 14.5. Chris Arnett. Allen. So many. Look, we're rolling. We're already at plus 110 now.
I love it. Hearing from Chris Arnett. We haven't heard from Chris in a while. Love to have you back.
Yeah.
That's
Philip
awesome.
Rollins said, Cole headed to the Burgers game. Let's take first outright. Oh, yeah, big game tonight with a drive, right? Let's go ahead and get that victory against the Greenville Drive. Would be good. Have fun out there, Philip. Appreciate you listening to the show, as always. He's Diesel, back in the Ingalls Market Studios. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you on this Friday. I am live at Burns High School, the brand-new Nixon Field, where the sun is out. I don't want to say blue skies, but partly cloudy. But it's warm and humid now after that rain we had a few hours ago. Again, Burns Rebel pregame show with myself, Lane Fowler, and Sam Clark at 7 o'clock tonight. Kickoff at 7:30. We'll have the call for you right here on the Fan Upstate, kicking off the 2025 season in this brand new Taj Mahal over here in Duncan. But Diesel, let's get to it. I made my picks this morning on the FanUpstate.com. Let me know if I'm going to upset you or any Tolos by doing this. Every time I do, I for whatever reason, I upset somebody. I've already had somebody screenshot one of my picks this morning and send it to me mad because I didn't pick Chesney. So it is what it is. I did tell Alex, by the way, Diesel. Alex guessed the Saturday Scramble to grant you access to that. So stand by.
Oh, we're waiting on Alex. Of course we're waiting on Alex.
Oh, by the way, Saturday Scramble tomorrow, Powdersville. Let us know, Tolos.
I love that store.
It's the best one. No. It's not the best one. They're all great. But
the one down from I haven't been to it yet, but the one down the road from you in Boiling Springs sounds mint.
It's nice. It's new, renovated, right? Renovated. So we'll see on that if we can get up there and do a remote soon.
I've gotten a little hint from Melissa that my local Ingalls in Malden is potentially going to get a little upgrade, so I'm excited about it.
They're waiting on you to get out there with a shovel.
Okay. I mean, I will. Give me a jackhammer. Put me to work.
They're waiting on it. Joey just got his upset pick in, and
thank you, Joey.
Making sure it was in from yesterday. I think we're good. Joey got you there. All right, let's get to it. I'm going to make my picks, Diesel. Rebuttal, comments, anything, just stop me along the way.
Okay.
Tonight, week 0. By the way, we did have one final score last night. Mountain View Prep on Thursday defeated Atlantic Collegiate in 3 quarters. It was called due to lightning, 34-0. So one game already gone final. I'm 1-0 right now on the week, so that's good news. Pickens at Easley tonight. I am rolling with Pickens tonight in that contest. Diesel, not far from where you are. Dorman at Greenville. A big game tonight for the Cavaliers, trying to have a much better season in 2025 than they had a season ago. Downtown Greenville, really, really nice stadium. It's serene. It's an old stadium, but it's cool. You've been there.
It is.
It's right behind Floor Field, right?
I would love to see Serene Stadium get itself a little bit of an upgrade, a little bit of an update, because it's a cool spot. The former Furman Stadium way back in the day before they moved out to TR. It's a great spot.
It is. It is a little older. It's still got that mystique to it, but it is a little older. So I'm rolling with Pickens over Easley. I'm going Dorman tonight over Greenville. Sorry, Greenville Red Raiders fans. Lawrence at Hillcrest. Diesel, I'm going with Hillcrest. It is homecoming for Greg Porter, the former Hillcrest Rams coach who won a state championship there back a few years ago. Now the head coach at Lawrence, making his return to Hillcrest tonight. I'm going with Hillcrest and Bennett Swaggart in that one. Midland Valley at J.O. Mann. First win of the 2025 year incoming for Bryce Smiley, I believe, who we had on the show during the Greenville County High School football kickoff show. I'm going J.O. Mann over Midland Valley. Malden, your neck of the woods, Diesel, is on the road tonight. Not far. Little road trip over to Greer to take on Riverside. However, I like what Andre Cook's doing at Malden. I just think Riverside edges them out tonight. maybe close game. We'll see, but I'm going to go Riverside in that one. T.L. Hanna, Burns. Obviously, this one's a big one. First game here at the brand new Nixon Field. Hanna, though, Diesel, they're always tricky. That wing T offense, it's tough to stop. And Burns struggled last year. It lost 19-16 in the opener, but I'm going to go with the Rebels tonight. They just have to win the first game, right?
So a team like Hanna, like this, Cole, that runs this wing T offense, look, I understand in high school it's a very effective offense because not very many teams run it. I just wonder what kind of program, what kind of offense do wing T specialist offensive players, where do they end up going, right? Does that sort of pigeonhole the great players that come through that offense into going to a handful of programs that like to use some of those similar concepts?
Well, that's the thing, though. They're just it's tough because there's not as many college programs that run it now, right? So there's a few. I think the key is you just have to be athletic and willing to play any position, right? And hopefully you're able to, at any position, go and play at a Coastal Carolina or a Georgia Southern, wherever. You know what I mean? And just be enough of an athlete to be able to go and adapt and kind of fit. It is tough, though. And it's tough for receivers, too. I mean, who wants to go play receiver at a school like that? They're not going to get the ball a whole lot, right? So they're tricky, though. They're tricky. I'm going to go with Burns tonight. Alex Guest from the Saturday Scramble, who hosts with me, he went T.L. Hanna. It's going to be a good game tonight. It really is, right here on the Fan Upstate. Boiling Springs at Greer. This is a big one. Greer's trying to start the season off on a good note. Meanwhile, Boiling Springs trying to prove that they can still score points like they did a season ago. I'm going with the Bulldogs tonight. I can't pick against my alma mater, Diesel, in the very first week of the high school football season, so I'm going Bulldogs there. South Side at East Side. I'll go with East Side tonight. A big one up in Cherokee County tonight. Independence out of North Carolina at Gaffney. I will take the Gaffney Indians. Northwestern traveling to Spartanburg. The Vikings. I'll take Northwestern in that game tonight. So give me the Trojans over Spartanburg. Travelers Rest at Wade Hampton. I'll go Wade Hampton in that one. Both teams need that one, though, man. They really do. Fountain Inn at Liberty. I'll take Fountain Inn. Wren at Palmetto. Give me Wren over Palmetto. I'll take Emerald over 96. West Side. Diesel, have you ever heard of Vestava Hills out of Alabama? Have you heard of that before?
I have never heard of that.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. It's Vestiva Hills?
Festiva Hills.
Yeah.
Maybe it sounds right.
West Side over in Anderson is in Alabama playing them tonight. They're a good program from what I can find. So give me Vestava Hills. Never heard of them, but okay. Out-of-state matchup for Brian Lane over at West Side tonight. All right, let's see. Daniel at Chapman. We talked about this one the other day, Diesel on the air. Chapman needs this one bad. They had a tough season a year ago, but does the turbulence from what happened this summer with Daniel carry over? I don't think so. I'm still going to go Daniel tonight. You think that turbulence from what happened could carry over into a game?
I think it may be one of those things that unites a team, right? Maybe it's one of those things. Yeah, right. It's it's an ugly situation what happened over there, and this is an opportunity to. I think it's a teaching opportunity for the head coach over there to say, hey, look, things are not always going to go your way. You're going to have disagreements with the guys that you're on a team with. That's okay. Yeah. Right. We're all testosterone filled gladiators out here. We all want to go hit somebody. All right. So let this galvanize you. Let this focus you into doing your job. And let's go out there and win football games.
Seneca at Powdersville tonight. I'm really high on this year's Powdersville team, man. Robert Muster's done a tremendous job over there. He's got really good athletes. I'll take Powdersville tonight. Belton Honeypath, state runner-up a season ago. Give me Russell Blackston and BHP tonight at Broome. Crescent at Saluda. I will take Saluda, the hometown team, tonight. Pendleton makes their way to Chesney. I think this is a close game. Really high on Chesney. I like what Brett Chappell's done, but I do think Pendleton edges them out. They won big last year in the opener. I think it's a lot closer this year, but I do think Pendleton, the Bulldogs, get the win. A few more for you. Landrum at Wahala. I'll go Wahala over Landrum tonight. Hammond coming to Greenville to take on Christ Church, Quinn Hatfield's team. I like Quinn Hatfield, and I love Christ Church. I just think ultimately Hammond gets them tonight. Hammond's always a good program. Abbeville travels to Southside Christian. I'll take Abbeville tonight in that one. They always win. That's what they do.
Is Abbeville still a power program the way they've always been?
Always. They don't lose games.
What do you think it is about Abbeville that allows them to be so consistent?
It's the same thing with a Gaffney. They just have that. They still have that small town community support. People aren't transferring out a whole lot. You know what I mean? There are a few places, Diesel, across the state that still have that small town, hometown feel like the Gaffneys. I think Abbeville is very similar to Gaffney in that aspect where they just, people don't realize it takes community support to win these kind of games and to be as dominant as Abbeville has. And I think that's a big part. They've got athletes, right? And we all know what Coach Nichols has done. He's a great coach. But at the end of the day, I just think they're in one of those little pockets of the state that, they've got that support. They've got that culture, right?
Plus, there's clearly something in the water to be able to keep pumping out great athletes year after year.
Yeah, no doubt. So Abbeville wins tonight at Southside Christian. St. Joe's goes to Cardinal Newman. Give me St. Joe's there. Mountain View beat Atlantic Collegiate last night 34-0. Newberry goes to Union County tonight. I'll go with Newberry in that one. Two more for you. Blacksburg at Ware Shoals. Blacksburg won this game last year, but I think Ware Shoals gets them this time. Ware Shoals bringing back the quarterback. Blacksburg breaking in a new quarterback. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do roll with Ware Shoals tonight. Last one, Diesel. I think this could be the best game of the night. Clinton at Woodruff. Woodruff won this game a season ago, and Clinton's a really good football team. Clinton runs, again, not the exact same thing as Hannah, but similar ground and pound attack. But Aiden Gibson and Woodruff, man, they're going to be really good. And I originally picked Clinton, but I'm changing my pick to Woodruff tonight. I'm going to go Woodruff Wolverines over Clinton. So those are my week 0 picks. We'll see how I do. I'll have results, hopefully good results for you tomorrow on the Saturday morning scramble with myself and Alex Guest. Reminder, tomorrow morning, 8 to 10 a.m., if you're a high school football fan, we'll break down all of the games tonight, including this one, which you'll hear in about an hour and 20 minutes on the Fan Upstate between TL, Hannah, and Burns.
I mean, that's the best way to start your Saturday, right? To wake up to high school football coverage. You flip on over the TV once college game day starts. Then noon, we got kickoff of Iowa State, Kansas State, Farmageddon in Dublin, Ireland. I still don't like that they're playing this game over there. I think it screws over the Iowa State fans and it screws the Kansas State fans, whichever one of them would have been hosting this game. Yeah. I think it ruins, one Saturday. You only get a few of them a year. You only get somewhere between 5 and 7 of these a year. So to take one away and ship the game overseas, look, if you want to play it in an exotic location, play it on an island, play it down in Puerto Rico, play it out in the Bahamas. They have bowl games in the Bahamas where fans are asked to fly out to an island off the coast. And truthfully, Cole, that bowl game is the reason why I know where, not the Bahamas, Bermuda. It's the reason why I know where Bermuda is. I would have thought Bermuda was farther south. I didn't know it was due east of North Carolina. So I learned something from bowl season.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Somewhere exotic, play Myrtle Beach, right? Come on, let's do this thing right. That's the way. And by the way,
play it in a Waves parking lot.
Yeah, what's wrong with a little Waves action? You mentioned TV. Turn on your TV, just as you can do on Wire to Wire, Tolos. If you're a slow riser on Saturday mornings, you don't feel like getting up and all. Turn your TV on, your smart TV. Go to YouTube. You can watch Saturday Scramble right there on your TV without even getting out of bed, just as you can do for this show, by the way, at the Fan Upstate on YouTube. Do it tomorrow. Check us out.
Tolos, if you missed it earlier in the show, coming up in the 620 segment, we're going to replay the interview from earlier with Smitty, Matt Smith of Sports Talk Media Network. When we come back, Cole, let's dive a little deeper into this big change that's coming to college football next year with the SEC going to 9 conference games. We'll put on our prediction hats and see what we think might happen with those remaining couple of opportunities left for these teams to have any flexibility whatsoever with their scheduling. We'll get into it. And a one last call for your upset picks next.
Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Cole, I fear that things are going to get real tight for the small schools in college football. Those that have really, really depended on making money off of playing the Power 5 schools. I don't know how those schools are going to be able to make their budgets going forward into the 2026, 27, 28 seasons. As the news came down yesterday that the SEC will go to a 9-game conference schedule that will start next season, Cole. So not a lot of time to pivot and figure out what's going on. This is going to be wild times. Now we've got 3 of the 4 Power 4 conferences that have done it. And, we all anticipate that the ACC will follow suit and do the same thing very soon.
Yeah, I think it's coming for the ACC, no doubt. I look at it as you can't be the only conference not playing 9, right? And the ACC is kind of in a tough spot, Diesel, because they're left with no choice here. I mean, they don't get a choice. So it's coming to 9. And look, I think while there are many, many concerns, we've talked about them, you and I have. I think for me, it's always been about rivalry games out of conference. And we've been told, again, I don't know if it's going to happen, if it's true, what to believe, what not to believe. We have been told that out of conference rivalry games like Clemson and South Carolina are safe. That's my concern. I'm from South Carolina. You're from the Carolina. We know how big this rivalry is. If I lived in, I don't know, Idaho, I might not be as concerned. But being from where we are, being from South Carolina, Diesel, I guess I can adjust to 9 conference games as long as those out-of-conference rivalry games don't get axed.
Yeah, so South Carolina now will have their 9 conference games. Clemson will make 10, and that will I assume be their what they use to satisfy that one Power 4 scheduling game out of conference every year. So the question is, if you're South Carolina, is there any benefit whatsoever of scheduling another Power 4 team outside of that? Even if you're scheduling a weak Power 4 team, like a Wake Forest or I'm just Kansas, for example. I'm not trying to bag on Kansas, but is there any impetus right there, Cole, to think, hey, if we're going to have a hard time, and this is just generally true, hard time winning SEC games because SEC teams are hard to beat, even if you are an SEC team yourself. Would you rather stack those 2 additional scheduling opportunities with middle of the pack or lower pack Power 4 teams, or would you rather stack it against a solid G5? Because I do wonder if teams like Georgia Southern and App State and Marshall and the like, if they're going to get squeezed out at some point too.
No. I don't want any part of competition. If I'm playing, again, SEC, that's the conversation we're having here, right?
Right.
In that conference, if you're making me play 9 games, those other 2, buddy, we're playing. I mean, does that community college down there, they have a football team? I mean, they need $50,000. They need 150. They need 2.5 million. Whatever it is, we'll give it to them and send them a check. And I think Shane Beamer's kind of talked about this, right? Like, why do you want any part of allowing yourself to be the victim of a conversation that can happen later in the year, Diesel, where, well, they didn't play well against that out of conference team that they played back in August and September, and they didn't, now you can't. You wins. That's simple as it is. Wins, W's, and you have to any way you can. It doesn't matter how you get them. You've got to get wins.
So you're seeing the benefactor of this maybe being the lower end of the G5s. You may not want to play the FCS teams anymore because you get no credit for it, but you'd rather play a lower end G5. ULM's dance card is about to get real full. I'm telling you, buddy, because
they need it, don't they?
Right. And they need all that they can get. I mean, would you even really want to schedule a good G5 that could possibly beat you?
Not really. I mean, not really. It's tricky.
The SEC, they most of those teams in this conference are really active when it comes to scheduling G5s. You're going down the schedules today. Basically, everybody this year except for Texas plays at least an FCS team. Texas doesn't, and most teams play 2 G5 schools. So I'm coming to the realization, and this is my hope, Colin. Unfortunately, it never really goes the way that you expect it will. My hope is that the G5s will actually benefit from this and get more opportunities to play against the power programs because they won't be playing the FCSs anymore.
Tolos, I hate to tell you this, but that's it for me today. For an hour, I am going to let Diesel run with it. I think we're going to hear from Gary Stoken and Matt Smith.
Yep.
But I've got to get a little show prep done for the Burns game, which, by the way, you'll hear in 1 hour from now. Pregame show at 7 p.m. right here on the Fan Upstate. And a lot to get to in case you missed it, Diesel. Gary Stoken, Matt Smith, and more coming your way next right here on the Fan Upstate.